Okay, so welcome back. And today we have a special guest, J.bar. He's been a member of the Discord and a part of the community for a while. I appreciate him. He just got in the union. He's probably been in it for about 4 days now. So I kind of want to get his experience from being someone who's in a different state than me. I live in Oregon. He lives on the East Coast. And so I kind of want to get an idea of like what that's like and also just his experience so far just starting out. So J.bar, can you introduce yourself for us?
Yeah, man. What's up, people? I'm J.bar. I'm over here in Massachusetts. Just got into the union myself. Been about 4 days, and yeah, it's been a journey, and I'm excited to talk about it.
So let's get into like what does the process look like to get into the union? Because I know some people in California are saying it's really difficult. They have to get sponsored. So what do you have to do to get in the union in Massachusetts?
So first, you have to go to an informational session when they tell you about the wages. They tell you about how to sign up, what you need, the documents, all that. After that, then you have to go to this interview, which the process is based on when you went to the session and when you submit the application. So it'd be like 5, 6 months after. Then after you do that, you have to take a drug test. And after the drug test, they get back to you. And then you have to take the acceptance letter, go down to the hall, then they'll give you the job list, and then you have to go solicit until you get in on a job. So yeah. Like
So you gotta go get your own job. You gotta chase those cranes.
Yes,
Man,
sir.
that's hey, it's tough, but it's worth it. I think the one thing that a lot of people don't realize is they make it kind of difficult to get into union because they don't want guys who are just going to work for a week and then, run off because they get paid every Friday, right? You know what I mean? So
Right.
I think they make it more difficult because people who have grit are going to stay with, they're going to jump through all the hoops, whether it being like having a clean UA off the rip, going to this place, then going to that place, then coming in at 7, then coming in at 8 o'clock in the morning, like seeing if guys are really serious about it because guys who aren't serious will weed themselves out before they even get that far. And I think that's really important for the union to do that because you don't want guys representing your union going on job sites, drunk or late all the time. So even though it's a hassle for us, who guys who really want to work,
Yeah.
it's worth it overall for our image and our brand that our union isn't letting, a whole bunch of bums in.
Definitely, definitely. Like y'all was saying, like no stones unturned, man. You leave one unturned, then that's what they get you. You gotta no shortcuts. Can't skip any steps.
And that's one thing with the, construction field period when it comes to even carpentry or just like, anything you do in the field. You want to make sure all your ducks are in a row. You want to plan ahead a little bit, get all your material together, get all your tools you're going to need because the more you're prepared, the less likely you have to double back and grab something, double back and grab something. You know what I'm saying? You want to make sure that you're getting everything in like one fell swoop. And that's how you become really effective. And through your apprenticeship, you'll see that like, okay, so I'm doing, let's say you're framing walls. Well, I'm going to need this, whatever kind of fastener they want, whatever kind of nails, whatever kind of lumber, maybe having some kind of, saw set up so you can just do a whole bunch of quick cuts and having all those things ready before you even start. Well, you'll be a lot more efficient opposed to, okay, grab some lumber. Okay, now you're cutting a couple pieces of 2x, but you don't have enough material to finish the whole entire wall. Now you're kind of scrambling. You'll see that if you get everything together at one time, you'll be so much more efficient and you'll blow people out the water.
Or so just having that initiative.
Yeah, and then thinking ahead too. But sometimes, like when you first start off, you're not gonna know what you don't know, right? You're gonna learn things, every day, how to get better, how to get faster. You may work with some guys who have done the same thing you're doing a lot, so they have little tricks and little tiny little skills that can make you that much more efficient. But again, you're not gonna know that. Hey, I should have all these things together right now because you haven't done before. That's why even when you do fail, I think that's a really important part of construction is when you fail, instead of just like being really hard on yourself, take it as a learning experience. Like, listen, that was difficult. I'm going to really think about it and actually feel the pain that I made this mistake. so I don't do it again? But also, how can I learn and become more efficient from that? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man, that's how I felt on cause my first day was Wednesday, and I felt that way on Thursday going into Friday. I was like, cause they want you to do the rooms in a certain amount of time. Mm-hmm. So the first day I did pretty decent. It was supposed to be a 6-hour room. I did it in 7. I was like, all right, my first day. The second day I did, because the inspector's real picky. You know what I mean? Like, you see any hole in the insulation, he'd be like, no, that can't work. So they want you to spend more time on it. At the same time, you need to be done. The second room I had to be done in 6. I did it in 8. I was beating myself up, man. I was beating myself up. But I just regrouped. I went home, got better tools, because I was like, yo, the way my knife is cutting, that's the reason it's taking me so much time when it comes to fitting the pieces. So I'm like, you know what? Went home, got better tools, got a tape measure that was more friendly to the way I use the tape, you know what I mean? It's just like, I didn't like the way it was sticking, just simple things. And I went, just try to get 1% better at everything I was doing. Went back, there's another apprentice that was there longer than me, and I looked at how he worked. I was like, let me see how he does it. And he does it a little neater than me, a little bit faster. I'm like, you know what I mean? And a lot of times I would ask him, like, so for this, you do this. And he's like, you know what, man? Just do the meat. Do the main parts first. Then when you're done with that, you come back and you get the little stuff. And I'm like, it's little things like that, you know what I'm saying? So on Friday, I was just like, you know what I mean? Just Edward Scissorhands, just cutting insulation and fitting it and getting it right. And then Saturday, it was fun, you know what I mean? It became fun after a while, because it was like, I'm getting better at it, and I don't even feel the fatigue anymore. Like like even tomorrow's Monday, I'm excited to go to work tomorrow. You know, I'm excited because I was like, you know what, that's more hours, more experience, and I'm going to be able to get better and better. And of course, I'm an apprentice. I want to impress my foreman and superintendent, man. I want to bang that room out, you know, in less time, as much as possible.
Of course. And I think you keyed on something that's really important. Is sometimes they call it eye hustling, like where you're watching guys, maybe not necessarily even talking to them, but just kind of like looking to see what they're doing. And then maybe having those guys too, like, maybe like they're like your pace rabbits, right? Like they may be a little bit better than you. So you got to say, okay, I want to try to keep up with that guy because that guy knows what he's doing. So I'm going to try to do what he does, but not like get in his way, like constantly asking questions, like constantly, you know, getting on his nerves. But okay, he's doing this way. I want to follow his path, then try to be a little bit faster. So it's kind of like a competition in your own mind. He doesn't even know that you're competing. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing even been spoken to each other. So, okay, now I know he cuts it. Instead of, you know, pulling your tape out and marking things, he just uses a knife and his tape together and just cuts it in one you know, swift motion. I'm gonna try that same thing. It's small little things like that you can just pick up by just being observant and like watching and trying to key on things. And I think that's gonna be the thing that's gonna separate guys who really want to stay in it and guys who really want to make this their career, is guys who can find that initiative to figure out like how to solve problems without like having to stop the whole system, step down. Okay, I got to get a superintendent. I got to get a foreman to explain to me exactly how this is done. When you can just look at guys and figure it out that way, man, you're going to be miles ahead.
And I'm telling you, see, because also I'm the type of person, like, you just need to show me something one time. I'm a visual learner. Like, that's why I like the trades. I like it a lot because I'm a visual learner. I just need to see something one time and I'm like, now I'm in my brain, the muscle memory is there. I can just do it, dun, 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 dun. So that eye hustling thing works for me a lot. Something else that worked for me too is like every time the farmer will come in and check in on me, because I'm new, you know, he want to check in to see if I'm doing it right, following instructions. I'll ask him, hey, is this look good? Is that look fine? And if he says yes, I take my phone out, take a picture of it, then I'm like, okay, I know what good looks like. I know what doing it right looks like. So I'll take a picture, I'll take a video, and I'm like, okay, the next time I do it, I'm like, let me look at the picture. Does it look like this? No. Easy fix, you know, just little things I've been doing along the way so far.
So you've had experience, prior experience in construction. You said you did roofing. What is the difference between roofing and like inside carpet?
It's a lot harder. I would say a lot more physical. The environment itself is not as nice. You know what I mean? It's really rough on you, which I think the fact that it's so hard to be in that environment, it pays off because no, you're in another environment where it's like you don't give yourself a break. You know that as soon as you slack a little bit, even if they're not going to do it, it's in your mind like, okay, let me not put myself in a position for somebody to, say something or get smart or, you stay in your lane more. You do the work. You get to work on time. You're straight to work. You know what I'm saying? No need to be like, oh, how was last night? Like, there's many days at work. I got to ask you how was last night a year from now. You know what I'm saying? That's just, and it makes you more sharp on the job, I would say. A lot of the fundamentals of carpentry as well is in roofing. You're cutting insulation and you're measuring it, fitting it in, cutting it, measuring it, fitting it in. A lot of the fundamental tools are in there as well. It's not a lot of similarities, but like the fundamentals itself is there.
Yeah, because reading your tape, having a sharp knife, a lot of these things are kind of the building blocks of, whatever you're doing, whether it be welding, carpentry, masonry, all these things, you have to read a tape, you have to have a sharp knife, you have to have utensils with you, all the proper tools. So you can kind of glean like one thing from another. Like, obviously setting up concrete forms is going to be different than hanging a door, but there's also going to be some similarities. Like, what kind of tolerances do I have? How should this finish look? If I read the instructions, how does it look? How does the superintendent expect these things to be done? To what specs? You know what I'm saying? So a lot of these things are going to have some similarities that you're going to key on. So like, as you see, like, even though you may not have done something like on a day-to-day basis, your past knowledge is going to propel you forward. And you'll see that as like you go and do new tasks, frame walls, do concrete, maybe do siding. All these things kind of build up on each other to make you like a more well-rounded carpenter. Are you in the EIS or are you a general carpenter?
I'm not. What's the EIS? What's the difference?
I think EIS is like exterior, interior specialist. So that means like you're gonna do like a lot of like drywall, insulation, a lot of stuff inside. I think they do some like window wrappings and like frog skin, like vapor bears on the outside of buildings.
I think it's just because, I think it's just because this is the one I solicited, and they said he just said, hey, come in tomorrow, So that's just where I'm starting now. But who knows what down the line entails, But for now, because I haven't done school yet or anything, so I think that's maybe where you would choose. Yeah. But for now, I'm just doing my mentality is to do general. But yeah.
Because what I'm seeing is like general, you have a lot more wide open like job prospects. Because you may even do a little bit of drywall, a little bit of inside stuff. But when it comes to general, your options are a lot more wide open. But I think EIS in general, they're like two different like books. So like if you're gonna do EIS, that's like all you can do, right?
Yeah.
And if you do general, you can do a little bit of everything. So that's why I kind of want to stay towards the general side, because I like going outside sometimes and getting dirty, and then sometimes coming in and doing finish work. So that's why I definitely prefer, the general route.
Same, yeah. I definitely want to keep it general because on my application I wrote commercial carpenter. So, I want to learn it all. If anything, if I have to do inside sometimes, so be it. But like you're saying, I want to do general.
Okay, so I haven't had a lot of like black carpenters on my channel, and because it's so rare, right? When I go to a job site, I may only see like one black guy every 3 or 4 months. And me personally, I don't really think race is that important, but I have been hearing this thing more and more often that like before people can like see things, or before they can actually achieve things, they have to see things. And so I'm just wondering, why does it seem like so many like black people like don't want to do like carpentry or construction? Is it because of lack of like role models, or is it just because the work is so difficult? What is your opinion?
I mean, statistically, we're only 14% of the population as well. So that might be in it. You know what I mean? that's just stats. As far as people not wanting to do it, I think it's what you just hinted on. There's not enough role models. There's not enough people stepping up to do it, to bring more people in. Like, I would say there's me and then 2 other black people that are on the job I'm on now. That kid is 20 and he's only in, one of them, he's 20 and he's only in there because of his father. And then the other guy's in there because of his own story, you know what I mean? So yeah, like it's definitely that what it is. It's a lack of influence. There's not enough people, you know, from our skin color that want to step up and do it. You know what I mean? And when you're actually that limited, it makes you work harder because, you know, it makes you know, like, yo, I've set an example. I want the next time a black apprentice come on a job site soliciting a job, he look at him and him go, yo, you know what? Let me tell him yes, because all the other 3-4 black people I have really given me their all, you know? So it makes you definitely work harder so you can be a role model in itself.
And I think that is one of the challenges. It's like, I live in Oregon, so there's like even less like black people. There's probably about 3%. So that might definitely be a reason why you don't see as many. But also, like, I guess there's that pressure too. Like, you're going to represent, you know, more than just yourself. And that's kind of difficult for some people, right? But for me, I take it as like more like a badge of honor. Like, if I can make it in a field that no one else that looks like me or no one else that I know has done this, and that means that I'm really doing it. You know what I'm saying? That means I'm really blazing a trail. And I think that's important. Like, you know, if you're going to do something too like that, like if you're going to be the first like pioneer in it, I think it's important to reach back. And that's why I kind of started the channel, because not just for black people, but for anybody who wants to do this. When I first did this, it was rough because I had no prior experience. I had some real, just like angry, negative dudes be my like journeyman and you know, foreman. And so I took the brunt of it. And so I kind of want to reach back and say, hey, listen, man, this stuff is difficult and it's not going to be easy, but there's going to build a grit in you and a resilience in you that's going to make you so much stronger that, like, when tough things do happen, it's going to kind of roll off your shoulders. Like me during the pandemic, like during COVID, that was nothing because I'm working my ass off every day. Every day is like hard. Like, I mean, the virus is rough, but it's not that bad. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's as bad as working in January and it's only, you know, 29 degrees and it's not snowing, but it's just so cold outside. You can barely feel your fingers, and doing that for months at a time and waking up, and no matter what you got to do, you know, you got to do some hard stuff every day. COVID wasn't that hard. So, I mean, it makes you just, your mental fortitude is just so much stronger than the average person. I think that's one thing about carpentry that's definitely like, it's, people don't speak about it enough, is how much stronger it makes you mentally.
Oh, definitely, you know, like, and it after a while, it's like when it's not as tough, you kind of don't feel the enjoyment, you know what I mean? Like, you get so used to it, it's like, it becomes like breathing almost, you know what I mean? It's like, you know, this is the norm. But then when it leaves, you're like, it kind of put this small depression in you for some reason. You're like, where is the toughness? You know what I mean? It's like, sometimes you get to the point where you probably have to like fabricate it yourself. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like, let me create this difficult situation mentally, you know, like, yeah, like it really builds grit, you know, and it's like, after a while you realize that at least as far as being a man is a part of life, you know? Yeah.
And it's like you said, we don't see a lot of role models. I've seen that Andrew Tate's really been blowing up, and he had, you know, the stuff that was going on with his case in Romania or whatever. But we see so many guys that will shoot for that model. Like, hey, I want to be like Andrew Tate. But also it's like, there's a lot of different jobs out here that are much more attainable, and you can have your own success, blaze your own trail that are right here. And it's just hard work too. It's hard as hell to become Andrew Tate. It's also hard as hell to be a carpenter. You know what I'm saying? But this is a lot more attainable. And a lot of people will kind of like snub their nose or look down on people who work with their hands. And it always confuses me. Like, if it's just a money thing, the carpentry field has it. If it's like being like a masculine man, the carpentry field has it. I don't really know why so many people turn their nose down to it as if like they're better than that, especially like when they go to a job that they might get paid like half as much or maybe more, and then, you know, they're not getting that same fulfillment. At least when it comes to carpentry, when you work, you're building something, someone's going to last probably longer than you're alive. It's there, and you're going to leave your mark throughout the whole entire city. Even me, I've only been a carpenter for almost 7 years now, and I've worked in so many different buildings. I can drive around Oregon like, look, I was a part of that. I was a part of that. I was a part of that and that and that.
Yeah.
It's like, oh man. And we drive by in the freeway like, hey, that's the building that my dad built. You know what I'm saying?
For
So
real.
I think that's something that's really, really under accounted for when it comes to working with their hands and working in the field.
Oh, definitely. Let this ambulance pass. Yeah, everyone want to be just Andrew Tate overnight, or anybody that fit that description. It's like, why don't you get good in this one difficult thing, then achieve the next difficult thing? Like, I think they're working backwards. You know what I mean? Like, you're starting all the way at this huge, almost unattainable goal. Then, you know what I mean? It's like, no, you can't do both, you know? It's either choose one. You can't do both. You can't like want to be him, think like him, live like him without even going through the hardship. That man went through hard times, you know what I mean? And it's like, to attain, like they're saying, to be a carpenter and all that, like, that's not as hard as being entertained, but it is hard. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, people skipping steps, man. And that's really what it is. You see a lot of people skipping steps. You can't skip steps.
I think one thing that would make these things get put in perspective a little bit more is to see a lot more of the failed Andrew Tates. You know what I'm saying? Or like when you look at someone like LeBron or Kobe or, you know, Giannis, you see, oh man, these guys are phenomenal. But for every one of those guys who made it and became like a superstar, there's so many guys who weren't just good enough or didn't put that extra effort in. And so like they didn't achieve that. And so you don't see how hard these guys have to put the work in. Now, I'm not saying that, you know, you can't achieve great things, but I also think that there's so many things you can do in your life right now that can, you know, focusing on that 1%, becoming a little bit better every single day, that you can become like your own, like Michael Jordan of your own life. You know what I'm saying? Instead of constantly comparing yourself to these like phenomenal people, like compare yourself to your past self. Like how much progression have you made in the last like 6 months? Like where have you progressed in your career or your skill set? You know what I'm saying? And you start focusing on that more often, I think you'd see a lot more like dynamic success, because if you're focused on everybody else, you never really can assess like your progress really adequately. You know what I'm saying?
For real, like they say, if you focus on the winners, you're gonna always lose. You know what I mean? So it's like most people, they like you're saying, if they would see, like, that's such a great point you made, like the failed version of Andrew Tate or LeBron, the struggles they went, you know what I mean, to see how much they actually overcame it, you realize, maybe I don't want to do that. You know what I mean? Maybe that isn't my path. You know, like to see what them went through and like, damn, he really came back from that. Like, I don't know if I could do that, man. You know what I mean? That's like, you realize like there's something inside of them that maybe not a lot of people can replicate. Like, that's just genetics, how they overcome some of this stuff. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So, yeah. That's a very good point you made. Yeah, a lot of people, they don't see the field version of what they want to become before. And it's social media for at the same time. You know what I mean? All this, what you call it, instant gratification. Yeah, that is poisonous, man. People want everything right now.
I think another important aspect of that too is like a lot of people are seeing people's highlight reels, but they're not seeing like the hardships they have. So say you look at all these like millionaires and billionaires, and even look at someone like Tom Brady, right? You sacrifice your whole entire life for your career, but then you lose your family. Is it really worth it? You know what I'm saying? Like, right. Are you willing to sacrifice everything else in your life to be great? A lot of people don't want to do that. You know what I'm saying? And that's okay too. You know what I'm saying? Like you're not a failure because you didn't reach like the highest heights of a certain aspect of your life, right? Because you can have other aspects where you can be a great dad, be a great friend, but you're a great brother. You know what I'm saying? Like there's so many aspects of you and facets of you that you also can improve upon to be a more well-rounded person. Are you going to be remembered the same way that maybe Tom Brady or LeBron is? Probably not. But then again, like,
Right.
does it really matter though? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
if you say you have a bad relationship with your son or your kids, and you get divorced from your wife, does it matter what your legacy looks like if the people that you brought into this earth or your partner you had and you guys aren't on good terms? Does it really matter what the world thinks about you if inside your circle things aren't good? You know what I'm saying?
No, I understand. Like, you know what I'm saying? You can gain the world, but then at the same time, you might lose yourself. You know? So it's like, yeah, you have to pick your poison, man. It's really what it is. It's like you have to pick your poison. Yeah, it's like you're saying, like you can become Tom Brady, but you might lose this and that. And you can blame consumerism. It's like success lost its definition. Success to people is driving a fast car and having millions of dollars, but success is subjective. If you woke up this morning and you said, today I'm gonna do 50 push-ups, and you did the 50 push-ups, you're successful, dog. You don't have to look like Arnold Schwarzenegger. You don't have to look like The Rock. You know what I mean? It's subjective.
Yeah, and I just think that sometimes when you just put these lofty aspirations out there, it makes it really hard for you to even get started. Like, okay, well, I might never like The Rock, or I may never be, a world, professional like bodybuilder. So what's the point of even starting? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So many people will quit before they even put like their shoes on, before they even get started. And I think that's one thing about your mind too. What it's gonna do is it's gonna make an excuse for you that you're gonna believe, right? You're like, okay, well, that makes sense. It's gonna rationalize it because your mind doesn't want you to suffer. Your mind doesn't want you to go through hardship. Your mind wants you to have as easy time and like being like at an equilibrium, right? So if you're looking for an excuse in your mind, it's gonna come like this, boom. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
you don't have to do this, but the one thing I found, like when it comes to life or even in construction, the moment something is an option, it's always an option. You know what I'm saying? So when it comes to like calling in sick or not putting that best effort in, once you do it once, now you start building a pattern. Now you start building habits. Now you start,
Right.
I mean, I know it's Sunday and I know it's 6 o'clock and the boys are texting me. I know I should be going to bed in about an hour or two. Should I go out? I mean, I could just call out right now. I could, text my foreman, hey, I'm not feeling good, and then go do my 1-2 out in these streets or going out to a party when it doesn't make sense. And so that's why I try to focus on like, what are some of the things that I can do to make myself successful? Well, first of all, I'm not going to do things that are going to lead to adverse effects on my career. You know what I'm saying? Like calling in sick, drinking heavily on the weekends,
Right.
doing drugs, smoking, being around bad influences, people who don't really care about your success because they haven't found that same success in their own life. So I think that's something that's important too, especially with apprentices. You're going to be around so many people that have no idea what you do, how hard you work, what kind of effort you're putting in. They kind of look at it as a job. But our career is a little bit different because if you have a couple of slack days, like you might be out of there and now you get a bad reputation on your name. So it's different than, you work at one McDonald's, you get fired, you can go across the street to a Subway and it's fine. Construction's a lot different. Like people speak to each other. You start having a name for yourself, like that guy's a good hand or that guy's a bum, that guy's a piece of shit. Like that's going to stay with you. So you want to make sure that you look at how can you make yourself the best version of yourself without, killing yourself too. You know what I'm saying? Because there's a flip side. There's a flip side of guys who, they take every overtime, they work their ass off, but then again, they have a really, really bad like family life. Like they've gotten multiple divorces. They don't have a good relationship with their kids. So it's about finding that balance. Some people might not want to care about, having a wife or kids. They just want to just real career driven. And some people want to have that balance. And I think that's one thing that's good about carpentry and the union is they give you a chance to have a good enough career and a good enough salary or a good enough wage that if you just work your 40 hours, you can still have a good life without killing yourself. You know what I'm saying?
Right. No, and that's why I'm in it. Where I'm at right now is very career driven. Putting down all like I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do, what I'm saying, I don't play video games no more, man. Like for me, everything is just straight career driven. What I mean, come home, read some books, work out, try to eat healthy because that contribute into the carpentry itself. Of course, I celebrate every now and then. What I mean, soon enough, I'm gonna buy myself a nice dinner or something like that. But most of the time, it's always trying to keep consistent because I notice like you're saying, if it's an option, it's it's always gonna be an option. So it's like the one time I'm like, yo, let me stay up late. Then one turns into two. You know what I mean? And three turns into four. That's all I always think of things when you're like, just like when you said that, I'm like, all right, let me not work out today. But yeah, that one time I did it turns into the second time I'm going to do it, turns into the third time. So it's like I always try to stay away from, when it comes to negative things, to stay away from one. Stay away, because one will always turn into two. Like that's what numbers change, you know what I mean? And for me, it's like, it's delayed gratification has been the thing I've been trying to practice the most lately, because that's where I realize it's like, that's where the most the rewards come, I came up with this the other day, like in the midst of applying for the apprenticeship. I was like, like every day is a brick. Like you get 365 bricks a year. You know what I mean? So it's like one brick a day. One brick a day. It's like I don't even call tomorrow's not Monday. Tomorrow's a brick. Tuesday is not Tuesday. Tuesday's a brick. Wednesday's a brick. So even if say I miss 50 bricks, that's still 310 bricks, man. You know what I'm saying? Or 315 bricks, you want to get specific. But like, yeah, like, you know what I'm saying? So that's the way I look at it. It's like, that's still a sturdy building I've just built. And then you do that the next year. You know what I mean? Another 365 bricks. And it's like, it just slowly builds up. And I came up with that the other day and I'm sticking with it. I like it. Because you know what I'm saying? Every day is a brick.
Yeah. And I think like every day you're building the person you are, you know what I'm saying? When it comes to like, I think it was like C.S. Lewis was talking about, like, we have like this inner like statue inside of us. And every day we're carving that to be like the person we want to be, like that pristine version of ourselves. And the more we do good things, the better that, representation looks. And the more we do things that are outside of our nature, the more we like destroy that image. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's important that we focus on things that we can do and just really put that time in and that work in, because again, life is hard enough without you putting like unnecessary roadblocks, you know what I'm saying, in front of your career or in front of your life. You know what I'm saying? Like there's going to be things that are going to come up that you can't account for. So everything you can do, let's do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man, no, like you're saying, life is hard enough. So like, why spend your time in the bar all the time? Why spend your time, you know what I'm saying, doing unjust things all the time? Life is hard already,
Yeah.
May a pain be champagne, man. You know what I'm saying? Just do the right things, And it's like, I rather spend the time. I rather do the right things, even if it's the hard way, than do the wrong things and live life the hard way. You know what I mean? It's like, it sucks to wake up early, but it's the right thing to do. So yeah, that's the way I look at most things. And this is not like overnight either. This is just probably the last 3 years really developing this person. So yeah, yeah, man.
It's really hard waking up in the morning every day to a job, right? To go to a job and do some difficult things. Like you look at the weather forecast and you see that it's raining outside, it's going to be miserable. It's going to probably be muddy. You're going to get dirty. But what's harder than that? Is go another 10 years and being at the same exact spot you are right now. No more success, no more like achievements. You're just at the same exact spot. I think that's more difficult than actually, putting that one foot in front of the other and getting those achievements. And like you said, stacking those bricks and building that wall, being at the same place and having that weigh on your mind. I think people know the things they can do to improve themselves. And I think when you constantly go against those things, it starts to weigh on you. It's kind of like there's like a monkey on your back. And the more you do the wrong things, the more you go against what you should be doing, the heavier and heavier it gets. And it starts to weigh on people. They start getting more stressed out, more anxiety. They got to start self-medicating. You start seeing more drinking because they're trying to get away from what they know they should do. Like I said, only you know what like the supreme version of yourself looks like. And that might be different to everybody, but only you know when you could do more. Only you know when you're making the mistakes and you could easily fix those things. Only you know that. So it's important that the things that you can fix, you do them not for anybody else, because all the accolades, all the money, all that stuff will come by just doing like the best version of yourself. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
And I think that definitely comes with like there's so many, you know, analogies when it comes to like carpentry. Like when you put the best effort in and you learn how to do things the right way, it's a lot easier than if you want to do things like a hack and you always want to skip steps and you always want to like, you know, caulk it or hide things. When it comes down to something, you really, when it comes down to having the skills and really doing something the right way, if you've never done things the right way before, it's not just going to magically appear. You're going to know how to do it. You can't flip a switch. You can't go from being a hat carpenter to like a master carpenter. You know what I'm saying? So every day, the things that you're doing, it's going to affect the person that you are. Because when times are really good and everybody just needs warm bodies and they'll just hire anybody, if you do just like the bare minimum shit work because you can, because you know, like they can't fire me, they need me. But when times get tough or times get more lean, you'll be the first one to go. And then you'll find yourself without the skill set to be like hireable on other companies. You know what I'm saying? So it's important that you try to do your best every time so that you build that like muscle memory of doing your best job every time. Does that make sense?
Definitely, man. That's why, yo, like right now, even when I come home, I'm watching videos like how you put insulation in the attic, how you put it in the walls. You know what I mean? Because it's like how you do anything, how you do everything. You know, if I'm washing the dish, I'm trying to wash it thoroughly because I'm like, you know what? That applies to my job. If something's on the ground and I notice it, I try to pick it up instantly, get it out the way right there because it's the same thing on a job. You know, I mean, a hammer is right there or a 2x4 is in the way, move it. You know, someone can trip, hurt themselves. Don't want to be a foreman. You know, he's first thing he's gonna do when he falls is look up. If you're there, tough luck. You could have moved it and you never move it. You know what I mean? So it's like I try to apply that to everything I do, and it's like wax on, wax off. You know, it don't make sense now, but you see the end of Karate Kid whooping everybody's ass. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's where I'm at. It's like. You have to apply yourself, and I'm an apprentice. I'm learning, and I want to keep learning. I want to be the best, man. I want to go to work and be like, yo, you know, that kid we done the project, and we're gonna go to another state, but we want him and we can't get him. You know, that's what I want. That's where I'm at right now.
Yeah, I definitely feel that, and I think it's like you said too. There's certain things like I've seen even in my career where you see something that's wrong, and you're like, okay, I have a choice. We might have to tear this whole thing out, or we can try to let it slide and see if we can like do some like you know, rig something up or do the bare minimum or do the right thing. And I've always found that if you just say, hey, I found this doesn't look right. I want to tear this out and start over again. Usually when it comes to like a big overhaul, always ask because maybe the person you're working with might have a better solution. But always make sure that you're asking the question like, listen, I found this mistake. What do you guys think? Like, how can I fix it? Because my idea was just to start all over again and do it right. What do you guys think? And a lot of times we'll say, you know, hey, that's a good idea. Or, hey, we don't have enough time to do the whole thing. But how about you just cut this part out and then we'll attach another piece on there to fix it? You know what I'm saying? There's certain things, but I've been on jobs where people see a mistake and they kind of just like, well, I didn't do it, turn my head and look away. And then, you know, a $10,000 mistake happens, a $20,000 mistake happens. I was on a job where they're doing an elevator core and they missed some welding embeds so they can attach the elevator, you know, mechanical parts and weld it on there. Someone seen it and didn't say anything because they felt that was above their pay grade. And next, you know, when the welders come to, weld the mechanical parts of the elevator to the shaft, it's not there. Now you have like a $60,000 mistake. Now you have to go through all these different like architectural like renderings, and now you have to find out how to demo this concrete properly to get now it's just a nightmare. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes it's always best just do the right thing all the time, so it becomes like this second nature to you, so you don't have to second guess yourself or try to flip that switch when you really have to, when it's like when it's really down to the wire. You know what I'm saying? Because if it's muscle memory, it's a lot easier than trying to force yourself to be better than what you normally are. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely. Yeah. You just gotta apply yourself. I'm learning that. You don't want to be backtracking, reworking.
Yeah, because that rework is really tough, because not only are you tearing out jobs you already did, so the work you did before was wasted. Now you have to demo that area and start over again. So now you're spending more time, and then you have to do it again. And then also you're losing the production of what you could be doing while you're doing all that. So it's like a quadruple whammy.
Yeah, I don't want to be a part of that, but
I feel that.
You can't avoid it if you're an apprentice and you make a mistake. Mistakes are mistakes, but I definitely don't want to be a part of it.
Yeah. And as you go in your career more and more often, the less mistakes you'll make when it comes to simple things. And sometimes it might be like a RFI might come out, or the engineer, you may open something up and something doesn't look like it was supposed to in the specs. So there might be some real work there, but at least you know that it wasn't your fault, though. At least you know you did your best, so that it wasn't something that's going to all fall on your shoulders. You know what I'm saying? I think that's important for apprentices. Just everything in your purview, everything that you can, do the best, just do the best, you know what I'm saying? And everything that's outside of your purview, everything that, you don't really have any say over, just kind of let Caesar have what is Caesar's, and just do the best job what you can. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. Just try and control the things I can control.
Well, hey, man, I really appreciate you, and thank you for coming on to the podcast or a little interview thing. And I hope I have you on here again. I appreciate you, bro.
Hey, man, I'd love to be on here again, bro. Anytime, dude. You changed my life, bro. And this is not the stop. I'm gonna keep going. I love to give you an update sometimes. So,
oh yeah, for sure.
And man, I forgive your flaws, man. You're really helping people, bro. Like, nobody doing this for nobody, dog. And especially to be your skin color as well, bro. You're putting in the work. You're putting in the elbow grease. You know what I'm saying? Editing videos too. You know what I mean? Like, come on, and you have a family and all that, bro. Like, you're a good person, man. Thank you, bro.
Hey, man, I appreciate you guys. And if anybody else wants to join the Discord, or maybe talk about your interview process or your journey through your apprenticeship, join the Discord channel. I'm going to put that in the link in the description. And like I said, man, we appreciate you guys. All we're trying to do is just make the world a little better than it was. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, everybody do their piece. Everybody put their brick on their wall every day, and things will be a lot better, man.
Definitely.
Thank you. Salute.
Of course. Thank you, man. Peace.